In this lesson, we'll begin sculpting and painting the sort of bony prongs on the side of the blade. And so I want to add a kind of a little bit of a detail here on the side, and it's kind of a bony structure maybe coming up from the top of the hilt here and extending up into the blade, kind of tapering in. And so I'm going to actually sculpt this into the blade rather than creating a separate piece for this. And looking at this, we only have about 200,000 polygons here, so we're able to get that detail with a fairly low resolution in ZBrush terms. And so let's go ahead and just subdivide this one more time. And so that will give us 800,000, so we're still under the million polygon mark. And so I want to go ahead and just block this in using the standard brush. I'm going to get kind of a white, maybe kind of an off-white, a little bit of yellow in there, and go to Z add. And we can, our intensity is set at, let's set that maybe about 50. And then the RGB intensity, we'll go ahead and set that up. And so now I just want to block this in, making sure again that our symmetry is on. And so I want to block in maybe a shape, and I just want it to kind of echo the shapes of the blade. So I'll just kind of block this in on the base, and then I want it to kind of come in down here into onto the hilt here. Okay, we can kind of smooth those shapes out as we sort of get those blocked in. Maybe we want it to kind of curve down a little bit more. Okay, again, just kind of smoothing that out. Okay, maybe kind of block in a little shape there. And then we can come in and start to block in this shape coming down. So I just want to kind of taper it from right up here. And just kind of taper this down. And again, I can go back over it with smooth to kind of smooth that out. Okay, and then I want it to kind of curve as it comes down and connect up with the rest of this piece that we've got here. So I'll kind of smooth that out together. And so just kind of building out the basic shape of it here, of the structure that we want. And the actual shape of the structure is not that important. So whatever you want to do, you can go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm going to just kind of smooth that back out a little bit so it's not sticking out quite so far. If you want to dial your intensity down, maybe when you do that to maybe 20% or so, that may help a little bit too. So just kind of smooth all of that out. And then I'm going to use the clay buildup to add kind of a real rough, kind of bony-like look to this. All right, so let's go to our clay buildup brush, and we've got our color, and we've got Z add here. So let's start to come in and modify this a little bit. So you can start to just build this up, and don't be too careful with this. You just want to kind of come in and just drop in the shapes that you want here. So maybe around this here, which could be an eye or something, and maybe bring this all the way down. You can always go back in and smooth it out, but this will allow you to just kind of drop in these sort of bony shapes here, and you can play with the different draw sizes if you want to get something that's a little bit lower. And then you can also hold down Alt to push in areas, okay, and then go back and forth with Shift to pull out areas. Coming down here, we can start to kind of draw in some shapes coming up here, connect those in. Okay, just really roughly drop these in, and don't worry too much about the shape, or worry too much about the softness or hardness of the surface there. Okay, going back in and smoothing that out, adding it back in. Okay, coming in here, adding that shape back in. Okay, and then adding those sort of bumps across there. Okay, so something like that. And then you can just start to define maybe kind of a vertebrae type look. So coming in here and adding these sort of pieces in here every so often. Coming in, just really roughly dropping these in. Okay, all the way up here. And maybe just kind of space them out evenly. Okay, you can start to connect those up. Again with your clay buildup. Okay, and as you get up here, we'll make those, they'll tend to get a little bit smaller here, but we'll go ahead and just continue that all the way up to the end. Okay, and then maybe up here we'll just get kind of that sharp piece that comes down as the end of the tail or whatever this would be. Okay, and then we'll just I'll just connect those up just with that clay buildup. Okay, and then we can come in here on the sides and start to kind of push those back in a little bit. Okay, so holding down Alt to do a Z sub and just start to define this a little bit more. So you can kind of see what that looks like here. So really whatever you want to make it look like, I'm just trying to going for kind of a tail kind of a look with some sort of vertebrae type effect here. Okay, and then you can see how the edges of that are really rough. You can go back in with your blade color and paint over that so it looks more like it's sitting on top of it. Okay, if you wanted to be really exact, you could mask this whole area out before doing this, and then you would only be affecting a specific area. That would work as well. Okay, so I'll just come in and kind of rough that up, and it's easy to get kind of a bony type of a look here with our clay buildup. You get that really sort of rough look that kind of gives the effect of more of an organic maybe shape here. Okay, and then coming in here we can just blend that together with some sculpting. Again, just bringing in that, hitting Alt to kind of push that in. Okay, now if you want to start to create some more kind of cuts in there, we can go ahead and we'll just jump into our light box, go to brushes, and just get the damn standard here brush, and we can start to just cut in areas so you get a little bit more of an overlapping look here on this piece. Okay, and then once you've got that done, you can go back to your standard brush. Okay, and you can change your focal shift, get a color that is near this here, and turn off Z add, and then you can start painting that back out so it looks a little bit more like it's sitting on top of the blade rather than kind of growing out from the blade. Maybe that's what you want, though. It's up to you. Okay, so we can go back and paint that out. So go ahead and sculpt out your piece on your blade, and it can look however you want. Kind of design your own. I just did kind of a real simple tail-like effect here with some different kind of vertebrae coming in, and you can play around a little bit more with the shapes. Mine's pretty simple. Okay, and you can see that that's happened on the other side as well. Then you can go in and do some painting on those. Once you get it done, you just break that up the same way we did the blade with some dirt and so forth on that. So I'm going to go ahead and just finish up the details on this piece, and then in the next lesson we will go ahead and start working on the guard here, and we'll do some kind of interesting effects on that. So we'll go ahead and do that in the next lesson.